Today we're going to look at truth tables that have three statements. So let's start by talking about the number of rows in a truth table. Given n connected statements, you need 2 to the n rows to test the statement in a truth table. Alright, so let's say, what does that mean? In our previous discussions, we had two statements, p and q, and our truth tables had 4 rows, which was 2 squared. Now we're going to add a third statement, r. So when I have 3 statements, I'm going to need 2 cubed, which is 8 rows in our truth tables. Okay. We're not going to use more than 3 statements in this class. I just want you to know it's possible, but we're not going to do it. Hopefully you can see, though, that if I had 4 statements, that would be 2 to the 4th is 16 rows. And if I had 5 statements, that would be 2 to the 5th, which is 32 rows. I just think that's too much for our class, so we're not going to do it. All right, so let's talk about the basic statement, how it's going to look when I throw on 3 statements. What is my truth table going to look like? So now I'm going to have P, Q, and R, and I know I have 8 rows. So we're going to change our start. So we used to do true, true, false, false. Now we're going to start true, 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 and then false, 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 false. So here's our new formatting for P when I switch up to 8. But what I really want you to notice is half. I go half true, half false in that order. Then Q will go true, true, false, false. And then I do it again, true, true, false, false. All right, so see how P was 4s? Q's are 2s. And then R, I'm going to go true, false, true, false, true, false, true, false. So there is a pattern. Pay attention to the pattern. I want you to think of it as 4s, 2s, and then 1s. That should help. All right. The connectives that we've worked with so far, just and or, are going to work the same way. So when I get or, I'm going to need 1 true for the statement to be true. When I have and, I'm going to need them all to be true for my whole statement to be true. Okay. So let's start with this one. Let's make a truth table for P and Q or R. So first we know that we need 8 rows for this truth table, but how many columns will we need? When we think about columns, start with our basics. I have P, Q, and R that I need individually will need columns. Then, since I have a set of parentheses, P and Q, I'm going to do that first. And then I can do the whole thing, P and Q or R. So here is what it's going to look like before I start. I have my 8 rows, and then going across, you can see I have 5 columns. So let's start with our basics. P, I'm going to have 4 true, and then 4 false. Q, I'm going to do 2 true, 2 false, and then 2 true, 2 false again. That's harder to say than it sounds. And then true, false, all the way down for R. So those, hopefully, once you've done them a few times, you won't even have to think about it. They'll just happen because you've done it so many times. Okay. Now I'm moving over to and. Now, when I'm looking at this and, this P and Q, see this bubble I threw up there, I'm only looking at the P and the Q here because that's the only thing that's in parentheses. So when I'm going through, I'm looking for both true. So I can see true, 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 true. So my first 2 rows are true. But then I have true, false, those will be false. Then when I get down here, see how I have 4 falses? That immediately tells me these are false, wouldn't even matter what the Q is. So I went true, true, false, false, and then all of these false. Okay. I'm putting this together with or now, and I'm going to skip over to these 2 columns. So I'm always using just kind of redirecting myself to say what columns are in question right now. Okay, or, remember or is more giving, I only need 1 true. So here true, true is true, false, true is true, true, false is true, and then false, false will be false. So as long as I have a true, which 1, 2, 3 trues, and you can see 1, 2, 3 trues, and then there's a false because they're both false. I have exactly the same kind of thing I'm going to think in my head here. True, false, that's true. False, false is false. True, false is true. And then false, false is also false. All right, so let's try it again. I'm just going to add one more thing in there, add a negation. So I have P or not Q and R. This time, go back to my basics. P, Q, and R. Then I have to think about, okay, now what? Well, just like order of operations, I do parentheses. Then I do the negation, and then I do the whole thing. So just because P comes first, that doesn't mean that's what's going to come over here first. I have to think about my order of operations. So parentheses, then the negation, then the whole thing. All right. P, Q, and R, let's just go ahead and put those in. I know 4 true, 4 false for P. I knew 2 true followed by 2 false for Q's. and then true, false all the way down for R. Okay. Then I get to this set of parentheses, Q and R. I think and needs all true. So I have true, true is true, but then true, false will be false. False, true is false, and false, false is false. Okay, do you see it again? True, false, false, false. So I'm looking, only two trues becomes true, and then if it has any falses, it's false because it's and. The difference between these two columns is just this negation. So I just want to flip everything. So instead of true, false, 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 I'm going to have false, true, true, true. And then it happened again, false, true, true, true. So these are exactly opposite when I look at them. Okay. I'm lastly putting this together with P. So I'm taking this column and the very first column. So look at P. It's true, 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 true. And my connective is OR. With these, it's going to be true, 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 true. Remember, true, false, true, 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 true. That sounds awful the more times I say it. All right. Then, so that was the first four. 4 trues, give me 4 trues. Then over here, these are all falses, so I really just want to look over here and say false, false, that's false. But true makes it true, true makes it true, true makes it true. I only had this one little bitty time here that was false. All right, so good time for us to take a little break where you give it a shot, that you try this one on your own. So I want you to make a truth table for not P and Q or R. Please pause this video, write this down on your paper, and come back and check out the truth table I got at the end. All right, so here we go. Again, making this up, I started with P, Q, and R, my basics. This negation with P says I need to put that in there as a not P. Parentheses Q or R, so I want to give that a column, and then the last column would be the whole thing. So the P, the Q, and the R, very, very basic. 4s, 2s, and then 1s. Not P, I flip the P, so now I have 4 falses and 4 trues. Q or R, I'm going through here, so this was true, 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 false, true, 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 false. And you can see that repetition here. The last part was to put it together with and. But and says I need all true, so false, 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 false makes these all false. And then I can see true, 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 and then the last one false. Okay, let's have you try again. This one I want P, Q, R. So I have P and Q and R. Notice I don't have any parentheses there. I want you to do it all at once. And so think about the rule for and. What does and say we need to do in order to get something true? Write out your truth table, then come back in a second and check out how I did it. Okay, so this one's much shorter. I have P, Q, R, basics, and then I have the whole thing. And we're going to do some like this in the future, so this is kind of leading up to later videos. So I had my 4s, my 2s, and my 1s. And then my rule for and would be all true. So the first one, true, true, true is true. After that, false, 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 false. I can see somewhere in one of the rows is false for the rest of them, so I only have this one beginning one that was true, and then the rest false.